ADH is a polypeptide hormone as it is released from the posterior pituitary gland. So it's a polypeptide hormone, and as the polypeptide hormones cannot cross they are water soluble, they are not lipid soluble, they cannot cross the cell membrane. So the receptor of these hormones are located on the cell membrane, and these hormones act through the second messenger systems, G protein second messenger systems. Now the receptor for the ADH is known as V2 receptor. This V means vasopressin. This receptor has two types, V1 and V2 receptors. V2 receptor is responsible for the antidiuretic effect, and V1 receptor is responsible for the vasopressor effect. Now the V2 receptor is located on the cell membrane of the principal cells of distal convoluted tubule and the collecting tubules. The ADH comes and binds with its receptor, with a specific receptor on these cells, and the binding of this hormone with the receptor stimulates the adenyl cyclase, G protein adenyl cyclase second messenger system. It leads to the formation of cyclic AMP, and after the formation of cyclic AMP, the water channels, which are known as aquaporin 2, they are stored in the endosomes of inside these cells. So what happens that after the formation of cyclic AMP, these channels or the aquaporins, they are translocated to the luminal membrane of the principal cells. After their translocation, they are inserted into the cell membrane, and after their insertion, the water permeability of the distal convoluted tubule and the collecting tubule is highly increased, and which leads to the reabsorption of water through these tubules. Now look at this diagram. Here the number 1, look at the number 1, the vasopressin binds to the membrane receptor. This is the first step. The vasopressin binds with the membrane receptor. This is the first step. Vasopressin comes and it binds with the receptor on the surface of the principal cells of the late distal tubule and the collecting tubules. This leads to the formation of cyclic AMP, and through the G protein second messenger system. You have already read about this whole system, so there is no need to tell you in detail. After the stimulation of or activation of the G protein, there is the excitation of adenyl cyclase enzyme, which leads to the formation of cyclic AMP. This cyclic AMP, now what happens that this cyclic AMP causes the translocation of aquaporin 2 water channels. These are the aquaporin channels, water channels. They are present inside the cells in the endosomes. Now these channels are inserted onto the cell membrane, onto the luminal side. This is the luminal side of the cell membrane of the cell, and this is the luminal side, and these water channels are inserted onto the luminal surface of the cell of the principal cells. After their insertion, there is increased reabsorption of water from the lumen into the cell, and from the cell into the interstitium, and from the interstitium the water is reabsorbed into the blood. This is how ADH or vasopressin increases the water reabsorption through the principal cells of the renal tubules. Now look at this second step. The receptor activates cyclic AMP second messenger system. Then the cell inserts aquaporin 2 water pores into the apical membrane. The apical membrane is also known as luminal membrane. Then the water is absorbed by the osmosis into the blood. Now the mechanism of pressure effect. ADH binds with V1 receptors in the vascular smooth muscle. This leads to the stimulation of phospholipase C second messenger system. That leads to the degradation of phosphatidyl inositol biphosphate PIP2. This leads to the formation of IP3, and IP3 increases the intracellular calcium ion concentration. This leads to the contraction of vascular smooth muscles and vasoconstriction, and ultimately increasing the blood pressure. As we have learned about the reabsorption, about the function of ADH, which is antidiuretic effect of ADH, we can also say that ADH has a role in regulation of normal body fluid osmolarity. As we know that osmolarity is related to the amount of water or amount of fluid present in the plasma. If there is more water reabsorption through the kidneys, the osmolarity will be decreased. Or it there is less reabsorption of water through the kidneys, there will be more osmolarity of the plasma. Now, ADH has a role in the regulation of this osmolarity. How, when the blood osmolarity increases, there are certain cells in the hypothalamus which are known as osmoreceptor cells. These osmoreceptor cells, they send signals to the posterior pituitary. They send signals to the supraoptic and paraventricular nuclei of the hypothalamus. Then these cells are stimulated and they send signal. They release ADH to the posterior pituitary cells. Then ADH is released from the posterior pituitary and it ultimately leads to water retention by the kidneys. This leads to increase in blood volume and decrease in blood osmolality. The osmoreceptors respond to the osmolar concentration of the blood. They are located in hypothalamus in AV3V region near the supraoptic and paraventricular nuclei. When osmolar concentration of the blood is increased, the water moves out of the osmoreceptors. The highly concentrated blood, or the blood which has increased osmolarity or increased molar concentration, when it flows to the brain and it goes to the osmoreceptors, the water moves out of the cells of osmoreceptor cells. This leads to the activation of these cells, and these cells send signals to the supraoptic and paraventricular nuclei of the hypothalamus. Then, from these cells, from these neurons, the impulses are transmitted to the nerve endings in posterior pituitary gland, and the ADH is released through exocytosis. How the secretion of ADH is regulated. The most potent stimulant for the secretion of ADH are increased extracellular fluid osmolarity and low blood volume and low blood pressure. When the extracellular fluid osmolarity increases, there will be more release of or more production of ADH more release of ADH from the posterior pituitary gland to increase the reabsorption of water from the kidneys, leading to decrease osmolarity or increase the volume. Similarly, when there is low blood volume and low blood pressure, there will be increased release of ADH from the posterior pituitary that leads to the retention of water from the kidneys, and it increases the blood volume. And about the blood pressure, that it causes the vasoconstriction of the blood vessels, arterioles throughout the body, so it increases the blood pressure. The blood pressure is increased because of the two effects. One is now the increasing blood volume. The increasing blood volume also leads to increasing blood pressure, and the vasoconstricting effect of the ADH or vasopressin also increasing the blood pressure. Now look at this table. It has the factors that increase ADH secretion and the factors that decrease ADH secretion. The factors that increase ADH secretion include serum osmolarity, volume contraction, pain, nausea, hypoglycemia, nicotine, opiates, and antineoplastic drugs. And the factors that decrease ADH secretion are decreased serum osmolarity, ethanol, alpha agonist, and atrial natriuretic peptide. Now, whenever there is decrease in the blood volume, for example, it happens after the severe hemorrhage, there is decrease in the blood volume after losing blood, there will be low blood pressure. The low blood pressure will be transmitted to the atrium, or there will be less blood flow to the atrium, leading to low pressure in the atrium. This low blood pressure will stimulate the low pressure receptors in the atrium, and the impulses pass through the vagus nerve to the medulla, then to the hypothalamus. There will be stimulation of the supraoptic and paraventricular nuclei, and it ultimately leads to increase in ADH secretion. The atria have stress receptors that are excited by overfilling, and when they are overfilled, these stress receptors are excited, and they send signals to the brain to inhibit the ADH secretion. This happens when the blood volume uh, is high towards the upper limit.